Welcome into Giants Training Camp Report presented by Investors Bank. I'm Madelyn Burke, joined by two-time Super Bowl champion David Diehl. And Diehl, today the Giants had their first offense versus defense game-like action in a scrimmage. What are your early takeaways?
I thought it was a great start for this Giants football team to get this scrimmage in, because without preseason games, you've got to get as much live work as you can possible. So when we saw the offense and defense making substitutions on the sidelines and holding it like a game, if there was a delay of game because the play clock went down, you're moving back 5 yards and no coaches are coming into the huddle screaming at you. So the fact that they kept it like that game atmosphere with all the substitutions, we're seeing on this young football team who can adapt and adjust on the fly.
And it was also a great opportunity for the coaches to work on communication with the players in that live game action. And Coach Joe Judge left a lot of this to the coordinators as he had a different point of view for today's scrimmage. Take a listen.
You know, if you guys saw me during the scrimmage, I was standing behind the huddle, behind the offense the entire time. And look, the things you can't see on film are, the command. You can't see on film the way he is in the huddle. You can't see on film the presence our players have at the line of scrimmage. So that's why I was standing where I am today, to make sure that I could really feel our guys out there in the field and get a sense of how they are interacting with each other and who's really out there dictating what's going on.
So Coach Judge obviously talking about that unique perspective you get being on the field behind the offense, things that you don't pick up on film. What are some of the valuable things that you could pick up in that?
Well, the thing that he was specifically watching was the offense. How vocal is Daniel Jones coming out inside the huddle, getting up to the line of scrimmage, having the demand and command of the offense itself, but also, is that huddle tight? Are there people trying to leak in and out? Do they not know which personnel is in for that specific play? Those are things that during a regular practice, when you have coaches involved and players everywhere, you can't really distinguish it. But when it was a scrimmage action like it was today, when there's only 11 on each side, you clearly see who's in command of what they're doing.
Well, and also, too, for Daniel Jones, it was an opportunity to make those adjustments. Like, if you don't get off to a great start in a game, you got to right the ship. He even said afterwards in media availabilities, hey, early on, there were a lot of things we would like to work on, we would like to do better, but we got a rhythm a little bit later on, including that great touchdown pass he had to Sills.
And that's the great thing you see out of him, is building up. And even though adverse times hit, he didn't have it linger and stick to the next drives that they had upcoming. So I do think the energy from the defense and the intensity that they had was higher than the offense, but the offense elevated it back up once the practice continued to roll. And I have to say, I am completely impressed with the way that Daniel Jones is handling himself this year. You can hear him vocally in the huddle, outside of the huddle, not to mention when you're sitting side by side with Jason Garrett throughout an entire practice and you see those two communicating to continue to be on the same page, it's a very exciting time for the Giants.
Daniel Jones has mentioned how much he's enjoyed learning from Jason Garrett, but it's also interesting, too, to see from year one to year two, he's changed a little bit more than just bulking up. Here's what he had to say.
Recognizing things quicker, having a better idea, pre-snap of what's going on, I think is I felt more comfortable that way, and I continue to, got to continue to learn, and obviously it'll be different, as we get into the games every week, game planning for a new team, a new system. So, but yeah, as far as camp goes, I think I've, with having last year and having some of the experience of playing those games, I think, it's certainly been easier for me that way than it was at this time last year.
Diehl, that's what you got to want to see out of your second-year quarterback. The game is slowing down a little bit for him, it seems.
Without a doubt. And you hear, like I said earlier, his vocal leadership and his understanding of this offense coming through to the offensive line, the running backs, the wide receivers and tight ends. Those are the things that you need to see out of Daniel Jones early in camp. And we talk about things slowing down in the game of football. The game of football doesn't slow down. The mental process of you breaking things down pre-snap and being able to communicate clearly to everybody else on the field, that's what slows down, not the game itself.
Now, the offense made some strides today, but it was really the defense who kind of owned the show, from the energy to some of the explosive plays. What were some of the plays that really stood out to you?
Well, some of the plays that definitely stood out to me during this practice was James Bradbury early on had a nice pass defense down in the end zone. He got got them beat by a step, but what don't you do? You never finish on the play, able to go in, get the pass breakup, and not give up the touchdown. I love the veteran leadership that he's showing on the back end of this defense. Another big play, we talked about the competitive nature of these defensive backs, and the rookies had a great day flying around the field. TJ Brunson, the rookie out of South Carolina, make sure you punish those wide receivers every time they get it. It was a big, loud noise. Everybody was fired up from it, and that intensity needs to be carried throughout the rest of the group. Continuing on the trend of those rookies, Tate Crowder out of Georgia had a nice open field tackle, and these are the types of things that you need to have when you have a group that's going to be playing downhill and swarming to the football. Now let's get to the big boys. Dexter Lawrence, we know that he came into this season in much better shape, much better condition, and has to be able to move laterally down the line of scrimmage while also keeping his pads down. Watch this play. He diagnoses Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield, is able to track him down and break him down in open field. Not too many big men can do those types of plays. Once again, continuing with the trend with the young players, the rookie out of UCLA, Darnay Holmes, had a huge interception working down into the red zone. You see him breaking on the ball, working up against a veteran like Golden Tate, keeping that inside leverage. But what does he need to do? Finish the play. Look at this big hit and forced fumble by Andrew Thomas, the rookie out of Georgia. The play is never over, and as an offensive lineman, when you see an interception like that, you better go down, track it down, and try to create a takeaway just like he did. We talked earlier about the play of Julian Love. Julian Love was all over the football field today. This was another play that we continued to see down working into the red zone. You see the bootleg naked off of play action passing by Daniel Jones. See the ball thrown in there, but once again, the ball hit the receiver's hands. Julian Love physically got the ball out to not let a completion happen. And last but not least, we got to get some more wide receivers in here, more offense, even though it was a defensive day. Down in the red zone, David Sills, nice seam route, working right down to the line, getting across the goal line, and a nice pass over the top by Daniel Jones. This was one of the highlights of the day for the offense.
A great play by Sills, but as we saw, a lot of great plays on the defensive side of the ball. And Julian Love said that this defense approached today's scrimmage as though it was a game, and that really helped the energy.
I thought our energy today was pretty spot on. I think, we kind of set the tone last night even to let's all prepare, come in today like it was a game. We're not getting those preseason game reps. So we tried to really take it seriously today and try to get out there, play with high energy, high focus, and just play with each other. We wanted to fly around, run to the ball. And for the most part, I thought we did a good job at that. And that was kind of our mindset. It's all, trying to get those game-like reps.
And Diehl, that was one of the first things I said to you today. Man, this defense is loud, and they've got some good energy today.
That's the great thing that you see out of them, communicating from the back end all the way to the front line of that line of scrimmage. And those are the things that they need. The vocal leadership out of these players has to come through when everybody else is learning a new scheme and everybody's on the same page. When you can communicate effectively and keep everybody on the same page, it doesn't matter if the offense knows what you're doing. Tell them to stop you.
Absolutely. And hey, the Giants have a day off tomorrow after a lot of hard work they put in on the field today. They'll be back out here on Sunday, and we will be here keeping you up to date along the way. Thanks for hanging with us on Giants Training Camp Report. For David Diehl, I'm Madelyn Burke. We'll see you next time.